Scientists isolated an enzyme from pineapple and tested what it does to human protein tissue. Within minutes, it began breaking down the protein structure completely. The same enzyme that dissolves a piece of meat in a laboratory is active inside your mouth the moment you take your first bite of fresh pineapple. Stay until the end of this video, because I'm going to show you exactly what this enzyme does inside your digestive system, and why the pineapple sitting in most grocery stores has had this enzyme completely neutralized before you even open the can. What you're about to hear is not on the nutrition label. It is not in the cooking column of your magazine, and your gastroenterologist has almost certainly never mentioned it by name, because this isn't about vitamin C. It isn't about fiber. This is about what happens inside your mouth, your esophagus, and your digestive tract. Within seconds of eating the right form of this fruit, the key word is the right form. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what that means. Think about the last time you ate pineapple, maybe from a can, maybe fresh, maybe in a juice. It tasted sweet, slightly acidic. Maybe your tongue felt a little raw afterward. You probably dismissed that sensation, but here is what nobody told you about that feeling. That tingling on your tongue is not acidity. That sensation is an enzyme actively dissolving the surface proteins of your mouth tissue in real time while you eat. And that process, when it happens in the right context, is one of the most powerful digestive tools your body can receive from a food. Stay with me, because the mechanism I'm about to show you is unlike anything you have heard before. The enzyme is called bromelain. B-R-O-M-E-L-A-I-N. Bromelain is a proteolytic enzyme. Proteolytic means it breaks down proteins. Specifically, it cleaves the peptide bonds that hold protein chains together. Think of a protein molecule as a long chain of paper clips. Each paper clip is an amino acid. The clips are connected by bonds. Bromelain acts like a pair of scissors that cuts those bonds at specific points. The chain falls apart into smaller fragments. Those fragments are easier for your digestive system to process, absorb, and use. Your stomach produces its own proteolytic enzymes, pepsin and trypsin, but they require specific pH conditions to work efficiently. Bromelain works across a much wider pH range. It remains active from the moment it enters your mouth, through the acidic environment of your stomach, all the way into the small intestine. A comprehensive review published in Biotechnology Research International in 2012 confirmed that bromelain retains significant proteolytic activity across the full pH range of the human digestive tract. No other common food-derived enzyme has this property, which means fresh pineapple is not just a fruit. It is a digestive tool that spans your entire gastrointestinal system from mouth to intestine. If you're finding this valuable, take a second right now to like this video and subscribe to Food Code, because what I'm about to reveal in the next section is the mechanism that explains why bromelain is now being studied in clinical trials for something that has nothing to do with digestion, inflammation. Bromelain does not just break down food proteins, it breaks down inflammatory proteins in your body's tissues. Specifically, it degrades fibrin. Fibrin is the protein scaffold that forms the structural base of inflammation. When your body responds to injury or chronic irritation, it builds fibrin networks in the affected tissue. Those fiber networks trap fluid, white blood cells, and cellular debris. That trapping is what creates the swelling, heat, and pain we call inflammation. Bromelain cleaves fibrin. Think of fibrin as the scaffolding holding an old building together. Bromelain is the demolition tool that dismantles that scaffolding systematically at the molecular level. A meta-analysis published in Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine in 2016 reviewed multiple randomized controlled trials on bromelain and inflammatory markers. The conclusion was significant. Bromelain supplementation consistently reduced key inflammatory markers, and including C-reactive protein and prostaglandin E2 in both acute and chronic inflammatory conditions in clinical populations with measurable results. Now, what I'm about to tell you next is something that almost no gastroenterologist will mention in a consultation because it involves what bromelain does specifically to the mucus layer of your gut, and it contradicts what most people assume about digestive health. Your intestinal wall is protected by a mucus layer. That mucus layer is made of proteins called mucins. Over time, front hive from processed food, stress, alcohol, medications, that mucus layer degrades, and a degraded mucus layer means pathogens. And undigested food particles can interact directly with the intestinal wall cells. This is the mechanism behind what researchers call intestinal permeability. Bromelain in the right dose from fresh pineapple does something counterintuitive. It temporarily thins the outermost mucus layer, and in doing so, it triggers your intestinal cells to produce fresh mucin proteins. New mucus, fresher, denser, more protective. Think of it like pressure washing a surface before applying a fresh coat of protective sealant. You remove the old degraded layer first, then the new one adheres better and protects more effectively. A study published in Clinical Nutrition in 2008 demonstrated that bromelain modulates intestinal epithelial secretion and supports mucosal integrity in human intestinal tissue models. Your gut lining becoming more protected from a pineapple, not from a pharmaceutical, from a fruit that has been part of tropical diets for thousands of years. So, what do you do with this information? 3 steps, simple, specific. Step 1. Always choose fresh pineapple over canned. Heat destroys bromelain completely. The canning process involves high-temperature processing that denatures the enzyme before it ever reaches you. If the pineapple has been heated, canned, cooked, pasteurized in juice, the bromelain is gone. Only fresh or freshly frozen pineapple retains active bromelain. The tingling sensation on your tongue is your confirmation that the enzyme is alive and active. Step 2. Eat fresh pineapple before a protein-rich meal, not after. Bromelain works as a predigestive tool. When consumed 15 to 30 minutes before a meal containing meat, fish, or legumes, bromelain begins the protein breakdown process before your stomach enzymes even engage. This reduces the digestive burden on your stomach and small intestines significantly. Most people eat pineapple as a dessert. That is the least effective timing. Step 3. Include the core. Most people discard the hard central core of the pineapple. The core contains the highest concentration of bromelain of any part of the fruit, significantly higher than the flesh. It is tougher to eat, but entirely edible. Blend it into a smoothie, juice it, chop it finely, and add it to a salad. Do not throw away the most valuable part of the fruit. This is information that is available in the scientific literature, but it is almost never communicated to the people who need it most. That is what Food Code exists to do after today. You are no longer someone who eats pineapple as a snack without thinking. You are someone who understands what bromelain does inside your mouth, your stomach, and your intestinal wall. You know why fresh matters. You know when to eat it. You know which part of the fruit to keep. And that changes every decision you make in the produce aisle. I want to ask you something specific. Think about the pineapple you usually buy, fresh or canned. Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. In the next video, I'm going to show you what a specific compound inside salmon does to the membrane of every single cell in your body, not your muscles, not your brain. Every cell, the science behind it, will change the way you look at the fish counter forever.